As the year winds down, many of us feel a quiet weight we can't quite name, a heaviness that lingers long after the holiday lights are packed away. It's not just the clutter of our homes, but the memories that crowd our minds, the regrets that replay in the quiet hours, and the little things we've held onto for decades that no longer serve us. You may notice it in the corner of a room, tucked away in drawers, or in the thoughts that whisper when you sit alone. In Japan, elders have a remarkable practice to release this invisible burden before the new year. And it's not about tidying up or reorganizing. It's about letting go of what has already served its purpose, making room for peace, and stepping into the new year lighter than before. Before we dive deeper, go ahead and tap that hype button. It's your way to help this wisdom reach more seniors who may be feeling the same quiet weight. Every hype lifts this message, and sharing it could inspire someone else to finally let go. Take Fumiyo Takahara, age 82, a retired municipal archivist living in Kyoto. She doesn't just clean her home before the new year. She releases a lifetime of burdens. She's lived through Japan's dramatic post-war rebuilding, raised her children with care, and faced loss and change that shaped her deeply. Each December, Fumiyo walks through her home not to tidy, but to reflect, forgive, and release, a ritual that transforms her space and her spirit. And what she releases, year after year, isn't random. There's intention behind each item and memory, shaped by decades of life and centuries of Japanese tradition. Here are the 7 reasons why Japanese elders do this, and why understanding them can help you step into your new year lighter, calmer, and more in control. Reason 1. Because time feels heavier after 60. As we grow older, something subtle yet profound happens. Time no longer feels infinite. Days, months, and even years seem to pass more quickly, and the weight of what we carry, both physically and emotionally, starts to press down in ways younger people might never notice. In Japan, elders have long recognized this phenomenon. They see the year not as a mere calendar, but as a vessel that carries everything left unresolved, every memory clinging to corners of the home and mind. For them, letting go before the new year isn't about neatness or minimalism. It's about freeing the energy trapped in old objects, unfinished tasks, and lingering emotions so the new year can arrive without burden. Fumiyo Takahara, age 82, understands this intimately. A retired municipal archivist from Kyoto, she has spent decades surrounded by files, records, and mementos of her professional and personal life. Each December, she takes time to carefully sort through these items, not with the goal of tidying, but with a sense of reflection and gratitude. She finds old letters from colleagues, faded photographs, and documents she no longer needs. Instead of discarding them thoughtlessly, she touches each one, remembers its purpose, and quietly thanks it for the role it played. Each item she releases lightens not just her home, but the invisible weight she carries in her mind and heart. The emotional insight here is deeply relevant to anyone over 60. Carrying too much, whether it's objects, memories, or unspoken regrets, compresses the sense of time we have left and drains the energy needed to enjoy the moments that remain. The Japanese elders' practice teaches that the act of letting go is not about loss, but about reclaiming time and space. Every piece of paper, every old trinket, every memory that is carefully released is a small but powerful step toward living lighter and with greater awareness of the present. For seniors in the United States, this lesson carries practical implications. Perhaps there is a closet filled with stacks of tax documents from decades ago, or a drawer overflowing with cards and letters from people you haven't seen in years. It's not about decluttering for the sake of appearances. It's about giving yourself permission to release the things that no longer serve your life, so your energy, attention, and sense of time can expand. Fumiyo's example reminds us that letting go is not a single dramatic event, but a careful, reflective process that blends memory, gratitude, and intentionality. By recognizing that holding on can be heavier than letting go, seniors can approach the end of the year with a sense of liberation rather than obligation. You've lived long enough to understand that the weight of accumulated years, objects, and unresolved thoughts can restrict more than enrich. Choosing to release, even one small thing, can make the passage of time feel lighter, more open, and more meaningful. Have you ever felt the weight of the past linger longer than it should? Reason 2. because unfinished emotional business ages the body. As we age, the emotional weight we carry begins to manifest in tangible ways. Unresolved feelings, whether resentment, guilt, regret, or grief, can seep into our daily lives, affecting sleep, mood, and overall well-being. Japanese elders have long recognized the subtle toll these unresolved emotions take, understanding that carrying them from one year into the next can create a quiet but persistent strain on both mind and body. In their culture, the end of the year is not only a time to prepare homes and objects for the new year, but also to close emotional chapters and reconcile with memories and relationships before the calendar resets. Fumiyo Takahara, age 82, embodies this practice. Each December, she sits quietly at her desk with a stack of letters and notes that represent unfinished conversations, words she never spoke, apologies she never offered, or gratitude she never expressed. Some of these letters are addressed to friends long gone, family members living far away, or colleagues from decades past. She writes not necessarily to send them, but as a symbolic act of release, allowing the feelings tied to these people and events to finally find closure. By putting her thoughts on paper, she acknowledges them without carrying them in her heart, creating space for peace and clarity. This ritual has a profound effect on emotional and physical health. Studies in aging populations have shown that holding on to unresolved conflicts or regrets can contribute to higher stress levels, elevated blood pressure, and poorer sleep patterns. While Fumiyo's method may not be a clinical prescription, it demonstrates a timeless truth. Letting go of emotional burdens can rejuvenate the mind and body. Japanese elders understand that the act of release is as necessary for health as it is for harmony in the home. By forgiving others, or even oneself, and expressing gratitude, they lighten the invisible load that can accumulate over decades. For seniors in the United States, the lesson is equally relevant. Perhaps there are conversations you avoided, apologies you never offered, or words of appreciation that were never spoken. Writing them down, even if only for yourself, can act as a form of emotional decluttering. It is a gentle, reflective practice that transforms intangible burdens into conscious acts of release. The process does not require confrontation or reconciliation. It requires only intention, awareness, and a willingness to let go. Over time, these small acts can bring measurable relief, helping seniors experience calmer mornings, deeper sleep, and a greater sense of control over their emotional well-being. Fumiyo's example reminds us that forgiveness and gratitude are lighter than any object you own. By taking deliberate steps to close emotional chapters before the new year, seniors can move into a fresh year unburdened by the past, carrying forward only what nourishes them. Emotional closure becomes a gift to oneself, a practice that nurtures peace, wellness, and clarity. Have you ever felt the weight of unresolved feelings affect your body or mind? Reason 3. Because regret is heavier than loss. As we enter the later decades of life, one truth becomes clear. What weighs most heavily on the heart isn't the material things we've let go of, but the regrets we carry quietly. For seniors, every unresolved choice, every unspoken word, every opportunity missed can accumulate over the years, creating a subtle but persistent pressure that affects mood, focus, and even physical energy. Japanese elders, having lived long enough to see the consequences of holding on to regret, approach the end of the year with intentional reflection. They ask themselves a simple yet profound question: what do I need to release so the new year isn't weighted? Fumiyo Takahara, 82, understands this deeply. Each December, she sits by her small writing desk, reflecting on moments in her life that still tug at her heart. She thinks of friends she never fully reconciled with, choices she once hesitated to make, and personal aspirations that were never pursued. Rather than allowing these regrets to fester silently, she acknowledges them, writes them down, and then consciously releases them. This act isn't about erasing the past, but creating emotional clarity for the present and the year ahead. By examining regret through this lens, Fumiyo transforms what could be a heavy burden into an opportunity for renewal. The wisdom here is both psychological and practical. Research in aging and emotional health shows that lingering regret can affect not just emotional well-being, but physical health, raising stress hormones, impacting sleep, and even influencing heart health. Japanese elders' practice of end-of-year reflection demonstrates a timeless principle. The earlier you confront regret, the lighter your steps forward. This contrasts sharply with clinging to what could have been, which can compound quietly until it feels like an unbearable weight. For seniors in the United States, this insight carries a very actionable lesson. Consider reflecting on your own life before the year ends. Ask yourself which regrets are small enough to resolve with a conversation, a note, or a gesture, and which are larger but can be acknowledged and consciously released. Perhaps there is a distant relative you've avoided calling, a friend you haven't forgiven, or a personal dream you've set aside. Simply naming these regrets and deciding to release their hold over your daily life can be a profound act of self-care and freedom. The Japanese approach emphasizes that letting go of regret is not a sign of weakness or forgetfulness, but of wisdom. Fumiyo's ritual shows that each year can end not with the weight of what you didn't do, but with a piece of what you chose to release. As she says quietly to herself, one year of regret can feel like a decade of burden. By addressing regret deliberately, seniors can step into the new year lighter, calmer, and more capable of embracing the moments that truly matter. Have you ever noticed how holding on to regret can weigh more than any physical possession? Reason 4: because they stop saving things for a future that no longer needs them. One of the quietest yet most transformative habits of Japanese elders is their ability to let go of objects saved for a hypothetical future, a future that may never come or no longer matters. In youth and middle age, it's common to hold on to things just in case. Old gifts, unfinished projects, clothes for another size, or papers meant for some imagined necessity. But as elders reach their 60s, 70s, and beyond, they begin to realize that the future they once planned for is not the one they will live in, and holding on to these objects can create unnecessary weight in both their homes and their minds. The lesson is profound. Keeping things purely for a future that doesn't need them is not prudence. It is distraction from the peace they can enjoy right now. Fumiyo Takahara, 82, practices this wisdom every December. As a retired municipal archivist in Kyoto, her home is naturally full of memories and items accumulated over decades. Yet each year, she carefully examines keepsakes, letters, and even small gifts she has held onto for decades. She asks herself, does this serve joy or obligation? Many items are tied not to happiness, but to a sense of duty. A forgotten gift from a relative, a project she never finished, documents she thought might be important. Rather than keeping these items simply because they could have a use, Fumiyo releases them with quiet intention. By doing so, she frees her living space and her mind, leaving room only for objects and memories that genuinely support her peace. This principle resonates deeply for seniors in the United States. As we age, our homes often become repositories for decades of preparation. Stacks of paperwork, unused kitchen gadgets, boxes of memorabilia from events long past. While these items once held purpose, their continued presence can subtly restrict our mental and emotional freedom. Japanese elders show that letting go is not neglect or waste. It is prioritizing the quality of the present over imagined future needs. By discerning between what truly brings comfort and what merely fills space, seniors create an environment that supports calm, clarity, and ease of living. There is also a subtle psychological benefit to this practice. Holding on to things just in case can maintain a mindset of scarcity or anxiety. Releasing these items, however, reinforces the understanding that one's life and home are already sufficient. Fumiyo often reflects on this as she sorts through her possessions, noting how much lighter her mind feels when she decides that certain items are no longer necessary. The act of releasing becomes a symbolic acknowledgement that her present life is enough, that the years she has lived have provided abundance, and that the future she needs is one of peace, not preparedness. Have you ever noticed items you've kept for later that no longer bring you joy or serve a purpose? Reason 5: because they no longer need proof of who they were. One of the profound shifts that comes with aging is the realization that identity is not defined by objects, titles, or external accomplishments. For decades, many of us have measured ourselves by the roles we play. The provider who ensures security, the fixer who solves problems, the doer who keeps everyone else moving forward. These roles, while meaningful, can become burdensome if we cling to physical reminders of them. Papers, awards, tools, or other keepsakes that once represented our achievements or responsibilities. Japanese elders, having lived full lives, understand that their value is inherent and does not need constant proof. They release these objects and, with them, the pressure to continually justify who they are. Fumiyo Takahara, age 82, practices this every year as the new year approaches. A retired municipal archivist from Kyoto, she carefully folds away old work papers, certificates, and files, symbols of decades spent building a career and contributing to her community. Each item she sets aside is not lost or forgotten, but honored and released, allowing her to close chapters without clinging to them. In doing so, she creates a living space, and a mental space, that reflects her present self, not her past titles or responsibilities. This deliberate act is deeply freeing, both emotionally and spiritually, and it embodies a core Japanese value, living fully in the moment while letting the past rest where it belongs. The lesson is especially meaningful for seniors in the United States. Many older adults have homes filled with objects tied to identity. Diplomas, business awards, uniforms, tools, or memorabilia from decades of achievements. While these items were once important markers, holding on to them can tether one to a version of themselves that no longer fits the present. By releasing items tied solely to identity or performance, seniors can embrace the freedom of being themselves without external validation. The practice encourages reflection. What aspects of my identity are meaningful now? Which roles no longer serve my well-being? What can I release to live more fully in today's moment? There is also a profound emotional benefit to letting go of proof. Holding on to objects that represent who you were can inadvertently anchor one to regret, pressure, or comparison. Letting them go is not forgetting or diminishing your life. It is acknowledging that you've already lived enough to be remembered, and that your story exists beyond objects. It is a quiet act of self-respect and emotional liberation. Fumiyo's example shows that releasing these objects allows elders to inhabit their lives more fully, focusing on what matters now: relationships, experiences, and the joy of simple daily rituals. For seniors, it is a reminder that the essence of life is not in proving oneself to others, but in living authentically and peacefully. Have you noticed items around your home that serve only to remind you of who you once were, rather than who you are today? Reason 6. Because carrying less makes saying goodbye easier. As we age, one of the quietest yet most profound acts of love is preparing for the day when we may no longer be here, not out of fear, but out of respect for those we care about. Japanese elders approach this thoughtfully, understanding that the possessions we leave behind can become emotional or logistical burdens for family members. Letting go of unnecessary objects before the new year is not about losing memories. It's about lightening the load, creating space for loved ones to remember us for who we were, rather than for the clutter we leave behind. This practice reflects a deeply ingrained cultural value in Japan, showing consideration for others while maintaining dignity and harmony. Fumiyo Takahara, 82, embraces this philosophy in her own home. As she sorts through decades of belongings each December, she is guided by the question: will this item serve my family after I am gone, or will it weigh them down? Old furniture, stacks of documents, and mementos tied more to obligation than joy are quietly released. In their place, Fumiyo keeps only what is meaningful and manageable. This is not a gesture of detachment but of careful consideration, ensuring her loved ones inherit memories and lessons, not burdens. Each item she chooses to release is a way of saying, "I love you, and I want you to carry only what truly matters." The emotional and practical benefits of this practice are profound. Seniors in the United States often have homes filled with decades of accumulated belongings, from keepsakes to household items. While these possessions may hold sentimental value, they can unintentionally create stress for family members when it becomes their responsibility. By thoughtfully releasing what is unnecessary, seniors can preserve relationships and reduce tension, leaving a legacy of love, intention, and simplicity. It allows elders to approach the end of the year, and life's transitions, with a sense of peace and order. This principle also carries a deep emotional lesson. Lightness is a gift, for both others and oneself. Carrying fewer objects, fewer obligations, and fewer attachments frees not only the home but the heart. Fumiyo reflects on the satisfaction of knowing that her children will remember her kindness, wisdom, and stories, not a cluttered space full of unused items. The act of letting go becomes a ritual of respect, gratitude, and foresight. It demonstrates that true legacy is not material, but emotional and relational. For seniors, this practice can transform the way we view possessions and time. Releasing items with intention allows us to enter the new year unburdened, focused on living fully in the present while offering peace to the future. It's an empowering reminder that generosity and love extend beyond gifts or words. They can be expressed through thoughtful release, mindfulness, and respect for the well-being of those we leave behind. Have you considered which possessions in your home could be released to lighten the load for your loved ones and give yourself a sense of freedom? Reason 7. Because the new year should be entered, not dragged into. As the calendar turns, Japanese elders embrace a philosophy that is gentle yet profound. The new year is not something to rush toward, but a moment to arrive at consciously and lightly. After decades of life, they understand that carrying old emotions, unfinished business, or lingering possessions into January dulls the potential for clarity, peace, and renewal. Entering the new year is not about starting fresh superficially. It is about arriving free, with a spirit unburdened and ready to engage fully with life. Fumiyo Takahara, age 82, practices this philosophy in a simple and symbolic way. Each New Year's morning, after releasing objects and emotions she no longer needs, she opens her windows to welcome the crisp January air into her home. As the fresh wind circulates, she breathes deeply, feeling the release cultivated over weeks of reflection. The act of opening the windows is more than ventilation. It is a ritual, a physical embodiment of internal cleansing. It signals that she has let go of the old, creating space for presence, gratitude, and mindful intention. The philosophy behind this practice has relevance for seniors in the United States. Many carry the previous year's clutter, material, emotional, or mental, into January without realizing its subtle impact. Carrying unresolved regrets, excess possessions, or emotional tension can drain energy and cloud judgment. Japanese elders demonstrate a simple but effective principle: release, reflect, and enter the new year with intention. It's not about perfection, but allowing the self to arrive unburdened, fully present, and ready for what matters most. Emotionally, this practice reinforces a sense of agency and peace. The weight of the past can make opportunities feel cumbersome, but letting go allows seniors to approach the year with lightness and clarity. Fumiyo's ritual exemplifies how small, mindful actions, tidying a drawer, writing a letter of release, opening a window, can accumulate into profound freedom. Preparation for the new year is not about adding tasks or goals, but about creating space for joy, relationships, and meaningful engagement. This philosophy carries a universal truth. Life is not about dragging ourselves into new chapters weighed down by old burdens. It is about arriving with presence, gratitude, and openness. Japanese elders teach that letting go is not loss, it is liberation. By intentionally releasing the past, seniors can enter the new year lighter, calmer, and fully aligned with the present moment. Fumiyo's emotional punchline captures this beautifully. They don't start fresh, they arrive free. Have you ever considered how much lighter your new year could feel if you released the old before it arrived? As the year draws to a close, it's worth pausing and reflecting on all that you've carried, physically, emotionally, and mentally, over the past months and decades. For U.S. seniors, the message is simple but profound. You've carried enough. The new year does not demand a better version of yourself. What it truly needs is a lighter version. Someone who moves with clarity, intention, and peace, unburdened by regrets, resentments, or objects that no longer serve joy. Japanese elders understand this deeply. They don't chase perfection or try to rewrite the past. They release it, creating space for the present and the opportunities ahead. Take inspiration from Fumiyo Takahara, who, at 82, engages in small but meaningful rituals each December. letting go of old documents, reflecting on unresolved feelings, and consciously releasing items that no longer support her well-being. Each act of letting go is both practical and symbolic, clearing her environment and her mind. For seniors in the US, this can look like writing a letter you never intend to send, donating an object that no longer brings joy, or forgiving a lingering resentment. Even a single small act can create a sense of lightness that ripples across your life, bringing clarity, calm, and emotional freedom as the new year begins. Before the calendar changes, consider choosing one small act of release. Let go of a regret, a resentment, or an expectation that has weighed on you. By doing so, you are not only freeing yourself but also modeling a powerful lesson for those around you. That life after 60 is about wisdom, presence, and intentional living, not accumulation or burden. We'd love to hear from you. Comment below which reason in today's video resonated most with you. Did reason 3 about regret strike a chord? Or did reason 6 about easing your loved one's journey feel most meaningful? Sharing your reflections helps others feel less alone and builds a community around these life-changing insights. If this video inspired you, please like, share, and subscribe to Wise Aging Seniors. Every action helps this message reach more seniors who can benefit from these insights. And don't forget to use the hype button. Every hype lifts this wisdom higher, helping more seniors discover the power of release and reflection before the new year begins. Remember, you don't need a perfect new year. You just need to arrive lighter. The act of letting go is both a gift to yourself and to everyone around you. By embracing it, you step into the coming year with peace, freedom, and the confidence that you are exactly where you need to be, carrying only what truly matters. Have you chosen what to release before the new year arrives?